Hello guys, you're welcome to Green Code. In this tutorial we are going to focus on CSS basics, and under CSS basics we are going to focus on CSS selectors, CSS properties and CSS values. Yes, and in our previous tutorial we focused on HTML basics, and in the end of that tutorial we created a simple web page with HTML. So at the end of this tutorial, after we go through CSS basics, the selectors, the properties and the values, after you get to know what CSS does and how you can use CSS to style HTML documents or web pages, yes, we are going to use our knowledge from this tutorial to actually style the web page we created in our previous tutorial. So get ready, and let's remember I told you that this course of front-end development needs a very much more practice. So you have to keep practicing, and then you will get there. So let's just begin. CSS selectors are used to target specific HTML elements and apply styles to them. So what CSS selectors is that the specific CSS HTML element that you want to style, you use CSS to selectors to select them. That is, if you want to work on an image, yes, you use CSS selectors to target or select the image that you want to work on. Whatever thing that you want to work on, the H1 paragraph or whichever thing, you need CSS selectors. So that is basically what CSS selectors do. There are several types of CSS selectors, and which includes element selectors, we have class selectors, we have ID selectors, pseudo class selectors, and then we have pseudo element selectors. Element selectors target HTML elements by their tag names. So examples are H1, P which is the paragraph, and then IMG which is image. So what element selectors do is that you use the name of the element to target them, to select them, to work on them. So that is basically how it works. And then also class selectors also target HTML elements by their class attributes. So the class that you use for that particular element, if it is header, footer or whatever, you use the class selectors to work on them. And also ID selectors target HTML elements by their ID attribute. So the ID that you give to them, the ID attribute you use to them is what you use to select them. So you just type the ID name, and then whatever you do to it will tell your browser that okay, so this one should appear in this color, this one should appear in this color, and that is how it works. And then pseudo class selectors also target elements based on their states. So either they are hover, active or whatever, yes, based on their state, you just use them to select them and work on them. And then we also have pseudo element selectors. So pseudo element selectors target specific parts of an HTML element. Example is the before and after and the rest. So if you want to work on a specific part, like some part of an HTML element, yes, not the whole element but some part of it, you use the pseudo element selectors. So that is how it works. So CSS properties are used to define the styles applied to HTML elements. Some common CSS properties include color, background color, font size, font family, text align, margin and padding. So color sets the text color. So like in this tutorial, what you can see is that the color of the text is green. Yes, so if you want to change it to red, if you want to change it to blue or whatever, so the color is the property. So the selector, the difference between the selector and the property is that the selector selects the particular element that you want to work on, whether it is the heading, the paragraph or the image, and then the properties specifies which style you are giving to it, whether it is alignment, whether it is color, whether it is the background, font size, anything that you spaces that you want to add to it. And then background color says the background color of the element. Yeah. And then font size also says the font size, how big or how small and you want an element or a text to appear. Yeah, you just use the font size. Font family also says the font family, the type of font that you want to use, how you want it to appear. Yes, that is what you use. You use font family. And then the next property is the text align, the position of the text, whether you want it to be at the left side, in the middle, or at the center, or at the right side. So you use text align to just specify them. And then margin says the margin, and then padding says the padding. I know I have said the same thing, but the difference, there's a difference. They all give space. Margin and padding, they all give space, but the difference between them is that the margin says space between the element and its border. That is what it does. We will practice them, don't worry, when we are practicing. Yes, when we are practicing, you understand them better, and we'll go through a couple of them. And then padding also says space between, no, margin says space between elements, and then padding says space between the borders of the borders between an element. Yeah, it says space between an element and its borders, and the margin says space between elements. Yes, so that is how it does. It is not difficult, and don't worry if you are not getting it. Once we start practicing or we start using them, we'll go through a couple of them. We will use a couple of them, and then you'll be able to understand them very much. And then we'll also talk about some few font families and other things before this tutorial ends. So I'm sure you're going to understand it very well. So let's talk about CSS values. CSS values are used to specify the values for CSS properties. Some common CSS values include colors, length, fonts, keywords, and the rest. So the value is the specific the value specifies the specific property that you want to give to it. So let's say the property you want to give to an element is the color. So which color do you want to give to it? Is it red? So now what you are seeing here is red. Now with the colors, there are several ways that you can actually specify them, and one is the color name, specifying them or attributing them by the color name. And then we also have HEX, which is the hex HEX. So it begins, you first type the the hash sign, and then followed by the property of followed by the value of the color. So this is the hex way of writing red, and then we have the RGB, and then we have RGBA, and then we have, I think, HSL. Yeah, HSL. So it is by choice, whichever way that you want to specify your colors. Or yes, it's your choice, whichever way that makes it easy for you. I mix them, so anyway you can use them, you can mix them, or any other thing. And then we have the length. So the length, actually the length value also says the length of an element. Yes, the length of an element. So you can set the length of an element to 10 pixels, 20%, 3 em, and all that. Yes, and then we have fonts. So a couple of fonts. Example of some of the fonts are Arial, Verdana, Times New Roman, Sans Serif, and there are a lot of different font families in HTML and CSS. And then some keywords are center, left, right, top, and button. Yeah, so these are the basic ways of styling. If you are arranging, or if you are actually styling a web page, some of the elements have to be on the right, on the top, and they have to be in line and all that. So that is what it basically does. Yeah, so it is practice time. Okay, yes, now that you have learned about CSS selectors, properties, and values, it is time to practice. Let's create a CSS style sheet that targets the HTML elements in the previous tutorial and applies the following styles. So we are going to set the background color of our web page to I think this color should be off-white. Yes, and then we are going to set the color of the H1 also to some color, this color, I don't know the name. Yes, and then we are going to also set the font size of the paragraph element to 16 pixels and set the margin of the image element to 20 pixels. So with the colors and the font size and all that, we are going to be using different colors, different colors. We are going to apply them, make them bigger, smaller, and use different colors. Yes, we might change different colors so that you understand. And we also add a couple of styles to it. Example is we might add some padding, we might add some background color, we might add some alignment and all that. So we are going to go beyond what this practice requires us to do so that you can have a bit more understanding. Yes, so I hope you are ready, and I hope you have your you still have the folder or your previous HTML code. Yes, because that is what we are going to style. We are not going to create any new how do we call it. So there are actually 3 ways of adding CSS styles. We have the inline, the external, and then the internal. So if there's time, I'll show you all of it, but if there's no time, I'll show you 2. And if I'm going to show you 2, I'm going to show you the inline first, and then I think I'll start with the inline. So I'm going to teach you how you can add styles using the inline way. Then after that, we will use the external. So the external is when you create a different CSS file and then you link it to the HTML document for it to be able to work on it. So more preferably, I will advise that you always use the external, because the external way of adding CSS styles is the advantage of it is that you can use one CSS style sheet to control or to manipulate or to style multiple web pages. And then with the inline, you have to style it in the opening tag or in the start tag of the HTML element. Yes, so which is actually going to give you a couple of or some kind of work. And then also the internal, it is being styled. Okay, the style is being applied, or the CSS style is being written in the head of the HTML file. So let's just get started. Let's get going. Yes, let's begin our practice. So you remember we created our folder where we hosted our practice. So my first project, yes, the first project here is here. So let's go and open this in the VS Code. Yes, so okay, so you can see we did this and it is here. So we are going to start this. So now let's go to File, Open Folder, and then go to where our folder is located. Yes, so you click on the folder and then you select Open. Alright, so let's wait for it to open. Okay, it is open here. Okay, and this is our HTML. Okay, so it is here. So first, I think we are going to begin with the inline. Okay, and I told you that the inline, the CSS style is being put, or the CSS code is being written in the opening tag or the start tag of an element. Okay, so we are going to style all the elements one by one. Yes, we are going to style all of them one by one. So let's start with the body. Let's click here and then we give space, then we type style. So style. Okay, select this. So with the style, what are we supposed to add? We're supposed to add background color. Yeah, so let's add the background color. Let's make it #F2 F2 F2. I think that is off white, some kind of white or something. Yeah, F2 F2. Okay, yeah. So let's save it and go and see how it looks like. Let's refresh our page. Let us refresh. So you can look at the background color. When we refresh, you see that it will change. So we have refreshed and it has changed. Okay, but just for you to see the changes, let's change it to a different color, maybe gray, some gray or something. Yeah, let's just give it a different color. So let's delete this, make it okay, let's make it gray. So gray. Okay, I love the one, okay, I love this one, the one down here. Okay, so now let's save and go and see how it looks so that you see the changes well. Okay, so now you can see how it is changing. So we have started changing, or we've started manipulating our web page, and we've added styling it. Okay, so now we have first changed the background color. So now let's go and add some attributes. Yes, or let's add some color to the H1. So the H1, we are supposed to add the color, and the color is supposed to be so style. Okay, so color. Okay, the color, which color should we use? Should we use this one? Let's just use blue. Let's just change and use blue. Okay, so let's save and see how it looks like, so that at least it will match a bit with our background. Okay, so we have blue. Yes, the color has been changed to blue. Yes, so that is how to use the selectors and the values and the properties. Okay, yes. So now let's go back to our VS Code. So let's add, let's say should we add font size? Okay, let's add border. Let's add some border to it. Let's make it 2 pixels solid. Yes, let's make this one, should we make it white? Okay, white. Okay, let's save and see. Alright, so now we have added some border to it. Right here, so we can add a lot of things. We can add border radius, we can add different things. Right, we can. So let's actually align it to the center. Let's bring it to the center. Yes, I told you that we're going to add a couple of styles so that you really understand. So okay, let's add background color first. So Alice blue, or should we make it white? Okay, white. Okay, so now the background is white. So the border is not there. You are not seeing the border differently because the border has the same color as the background of the element. Alright, so let's center it. So text align, center. Okay, so now we have centered it. We have brought it to the center. Alright, okay. So let's go and work on our paragraph. Let's add some styles to the paragraph too as well. So let's go back to the VS Code and then work on this one. Don't worry if the colors don't match or things don't match. This is just a tutorial. After this, we are going to actually create a real life project. Okay, yes, that you can actually use for many purposes and all that. So just get the understanding first. This is just for you to understand. Okay, yes, all right. So let's add border 2 pixels. Solid. Oh, solid. Let's make it blue. Okay, so now let's see, refresh and see. Okay, alright. So now let's change the color and then also align it to center. Let's bring it also to center and see, and we can also actually add border radius to change the edges of the more nice and yeah. So let's add border radius. Let's make it 30 pixels. Let's make the border radius 30 pixels. Okay, so you can see the border, and it is looking more good, right? Yeah. So let's align it to center and add color to it before we we've already added font size. Let's do this one and just add text align center, then color. Right. Let's refresh. Alright, so we see it's looking more good and all that, right? Yeah. So we will add some more styles to it. We'll try and add some few more styles to it so that it will look more good. And like I said earlier, this one is just for you to understand and understand it pretty well, right? Yes, I just want you to have a clear understanding of how it works. So let's add some margin and see what happens to the image. Let's add some margin to the image. Okay, so we can actually add it anywhere here. Alright, so let's space style. Okay, margin 20 pixels. Margin 20 pixels. So as you can see, yes, so there has been spaces in between the elements, you understand? Yes, so we've added space in between the elements. Yes, we can make it anyway. We can actually change the size, make it bigger, make it small, push it to the left, push it to the right, or anything. So let's add some styles to the link too as well. So font size, let's make it 25 pixels or 30 to 30. I know it might look a bit bigger, but it's okay. Also font weight, let's add font weight and make it 600. So let's save and then see. Alright, good. So you can see our link is actually looking much bolder and then bigger, and when you click on it, it is going to work perfectly fine. It is going to take us to my YouTube channel. Yeah, so I hope you understand how to add styles using the how do we call it, the inline way. Okay, yeah. So now let's delete the styles from the element, and then I told you I was going to teach you 2 different ways, if possible 3, okay, but I might teach you 2. So now let's do the external way. Let's add styles to it. Let's do the external way of adding styles to web page. Okay, yes. And then so we are going to delete all these ones. Let's delete these ones. Okay, alright. So now let's save and then go and refresh our page and see whether it will reset to how it was. Okay, good. So now the styles have been undone. Okay, so now we're going to do external. Okay, now with the external, you come and click new file and create a new file and name it styles.css. Remember when we were creating HTML document, we saved it and we added .html to the name, which is the index, whichever name. The same way, if you are creating a CSS file, you have to add .css to however you want to save the name, so that the browser will know that we are creating a CSS file. Okay, now we are going to link our CSS file to the HTML. So in the head here, right below the title, you just type link, yes, and then you type the name of the how we save our CSS, which is styles of CSS. So it's here, you select it, yes, and now we have linked it. Okay, so now let's just style here. So whichever style we add here, it is going to affect, because we have linked the two documents, which is the CSS document and the HTML document. Okay, so we are supposed to make the background color that's F2, right? So let's make it gray. Let's just make it gray, the one down here. Okay, all right, so let's save, and then you will see. Good, so you see our external style is working. All right, yes. So me, I prefer, just like I said earlier, I prefer the external way. All right, so now let's add colors to the H1. So first we type there. Now you remember what we talked about, the selector, properties, and the values. So the H1 is the selector, which means that we are working on the we are selecting we are working on the H1. So we have selected it by typing the element name, yes, and then the properties, the background color, and the Alice blue here, which is the color here, that one is the value. I hope you understand, it is clear. Yes, so that is it. So now let's add what should we add? Let's add border, which is 2 pixels, solid. Okay, should we make it Alice blue or white? Okay, white. Okay, and then border radius, let's make it 30 pixels. Remember what the border radius does, right? And then let's also make should we save and see how it looks like, or should we add font weight? Let's make it bold. All right, and then should we save and see? All right, so everything we added to the H1, it has taken effect. We added border radius, we added border, we added background color, and then we added font weight. Let's make text align. So text align center. So let's see. All right, so it has moved to the center, right? Yes, and it is looking good, right? Yes. So now let's work on the paragraph. So now we are going to, let's go to VS Code. So we are going to select the paragraph. So P, which is by the element. All right, by the tag name, right? Yes. So font size, let's make it 25 pixels, so it will look a bit more bigger. And then let's make text alignment. Let's make it center. Let's add border font weight, sorry, 600. Okay, and then border 2 pixels, border 2 pixels, solid. This is very easy to understand, right? Yes, border radius 30 pixels. Yeah, so let's let's see how it looks like. Refresh. All right, so it's looking good. Let's change the color. Should we change the color to something like white, or maybe Alice blue or something? And like I said, so don't worry if the colors are not matching. Just this is just a tutorial, okay? This is just for you to understand how to use them, so you can take your time, and it is your web page, so you can actually match the colors, use any appropriate colors that you want to use, so that it will look good for you. Yes, alright. So now we have worked on it, and then this one has a background color, this one doesn't have a background color, right? Yes, as you can see. So let's add some padding. Okay, so padding, let's make it 15 pixels, so that you see what the padding also does. Let's add padding to this one too, and make it 15 pixels. Good. So you can see, like I said, the padding gives space between the element and the border. So as you can see, yes, the padding we added has given space between the element, which is the H1 element, and the paragraph element and the border. You get it? Yes. So it is very simple and so easy to understand. Okay, yes, it is very easy to understand. So let's go back to our CSS and then start the image as well. Okay, yes, so image, which is the selector, and then we type the property margin, and then the value 20 pixels. Let's save and see. Alright, so now the spaces have been added between the elements. Okay, yes. So it is very easy and simple to understand. Let's add something to a property to link to as well. Okay, yeah, so let's select, which is the link. Alright, and now let's give it the property, which is font size. Let's make it 25 pixels this time, and then font width, let's make it 600. Yeah, so let's save and then see how it looks like. Alright, good. So as you can see, it is also looking a bit bigger and bolder now. So this is it. It is very simple and easy to understand. We've been able to add, and when we click our link, it will take us to our YouTube channel. Okay, yes, it will take us to the YouTube channel. So so that is it. It is very simple and easy to understand. Okay, yes, it's very easy and simple to understand. So please do well to subscribe to the channel and keep practicing. Please undo and then practice again. Okay, that is the most important thing. You have to be practicing again and again and again. That is how you are going to get it. Okay, please do well to like this video. Okay, do well to like it, and do well to actually also share it. Yes, share it, and then also subscribe to the channel, and then get your friends to also comment, subscribe. So now let's change the background. Let's use the image as a background. Okay, let's use the image as a background. All right, so URL, so you type the background. So we are changing the color. Alright, the background color, and then we're going to use the image on the web page as the background. So we type the image name, the image as we have it here in our folder. You can see it here, right? Yeah, so now let's see. Alright, so now our image is now the background, but you see it is repeating itself. Okay, yes, it is repeating itself. So we want to make it just one and then make it cover. So now we'll just add no repeat here. No repeats. Okay, let's save and see what happens. Alright, refresh. Okay, so now the image is just one. Alright, yes, but it is not covering the whole background. Okay, so now let's go and make it cover the whole background, and then we'll see what happens. So let's add background size, which is cover, and then let's add what should we add? Should we add okay, height? Alright, mean height 100 VH, 100 VH. Okay, and then background positions, center, background position is center. Alright, okay, so now we have used our image as the background, as very simple as that. So I told you that you can actually manipulate it to whichever way you want it to look. Yes, you can use any image, anything at all. You can make it, you can manipulate it and make it appear as good as you want, anyway, anyhow. Yes, so it is your web page. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and please do well to subscribe. Okay, yes, very much important. Subscribe to the channel for me. Alright, and then share it and tell your friends to also come and keep practicing. Be consistent and click on the notification bell, and then get ready to move to our next tutorial. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and also thank you for sharing to your friends. See you in the next tutorial.